So I'm in a land of quarterbacks. Andrew Luck is the GM here. This is Stanford's practice field. Thought it'd be fitting to talk about one of the newest 49ers who hates quarterbacks. That's the defensive tackle out of Indiana, CJ West. It says that he hates quarterbacks on his Instagram page. And in case we thought that CJ West might not be serious, we can see his t-shirt. Yes, he hates quarterbacks. Well, good for him. There's actually one quarterback whom he might like. It is Curtis Rourke, whom the 49ers drafted in the 7th round. Rourke was teammates in college with CJ West, and apparently the two texted over the course of Saturday, the day that they were both drafted by San Francisco. Pretty neat connection there. 49ers would be okay if CJ West only liked Curtis Rourke and hated all other quarterbacks. Maybe they would prefer if Brock Purdy was on the nice list for CJ West, but he doesn't have to play against Brock Purdy. He has to go chase down other quarterbacks, and the 49ers want to see that aggression on the field a year after their defense was uncharacteristically soft. CJ West is part of the effort to bring this defense back to its hardline days. And, well, just have a listen to how he feels about opposing centers.
My bread and butter is that the one technique. That's where I'll just abuse centers, punch them in the face, be as violent as possible, just creating havoc down there in the middle.
Abusing centers, punching them in the face. I'm sure that's what Chris Kasarik likes to hear. Speaking of Kasarik, speaking of Robert Saleh, a hard-nosed defensive coordinator, it sounds like CJ West is already getting along with both of his primary 49ers coaches.
So you clearly bonded really well with Chris Kasarik.
Yes, sir. Yes.
He's a guy who likes violence. And how was your interaction with Kasarik and also Robert Saleh?
Oh, it was great. They're really, they're coaches that really know what they're doing, and they also have passion for the game. You could just see it in the way they talk. When I was on the phone with them, you just see it in the way they talk, the way they coach, and that's the type of coach style that I love. That's the type of coach style I want to be in, and that's the program of culture that I want to be in as well. So I'm excited to get to work. Cannot wait.
Now, remember when Kasarik and Saleh last worked together, they had a guy named DJ Jones. I think they see a lot of DJ Jones in CJ West. One technique, athletic enough to play, 3 technique. I mean, put on the relative athletic score, and you could see just how well CJ West moves. It was all over his tape at Indiana. He's very, very strong on the inside, but he's explosive. He could take away the gaps in the wide 9. Your defensive linemen are stretched further apart in a wide 9 scheme. You're taking that risk so you can give your edge rushers more of an angle against offensive tackles, but you need true Ferraris up front with your defensive tackles to occupy the greater amount of space in between the defensive linemen. CJ West can do that, and DJ Jones was able to do that for the 49ers, but not by himself. First, DJ Jones had to get in shape. That was a couple-year process for the 49ers, but by 2019, he was absolutely awesome. I still remember on Monday Night Football, he chased down Russell Wilson in his prime to the sideline. And, I just looked around and I was like, did everybody see that? Did people see DJ Jones chase Russell Wilson down? Football fields are over, 50 yards wide. And when a player like DJ Jones at 300 plus pounds was able to do that, it was a testament to the athleticism that succeeded in the wide 9. I think that CJ West can do similar things based on the scores that we've seen out of him. But as I said, it's not a singular effort. He's got to be paired with good talent with which to team up along that defensive line. And he's got Alfred Collins now. Alfred Collins is a tall defensive tackle. He's 6'6", he's 332 pounds. Just like DJ Jones had DeForest Buckner, just like DJ Jones had Eric Armstead, and I think Mykel Williams fits into that Eric Armstead mold. CJ West is going to have Mykel Williams, and he's going to have Alfred Collins. And it's the whole mix and match that the 49ers have built up front through this draft that I think is particularly intriguing, because now Chris Kasarik is going to get to work on different combinations. He's going to be able to rush Mykel Williams over the inside on certain downs. Right now, the 49ers are very, very power-oriented with their pass rush. And that reminds me, I used to cover Stanford football. I used to practice on this field. Speaking of a power orientation, that was Stanford back in the day. Jim Harbaugh, then David Shaw was the head coach. There was a true focus on power and not speed for a while there. whether it be the power run game or the power pass rush. Well, the 49ers are in a power pass rush focus right now. You think about it, in the NFL, you've got finesse rushers who are speed rushers, and those have proliferated the league. We're talking about the edge position, 240 pounds, some guys even under 240 pounds. And then you've got your bigger edge setters. And the 49ers now have, along their starting line, some truly big edge setters. I mean, they went Michael Williams, 270 pounds. Robert Beal, Michael's former teammate at Georgia, is still on the roster, but I don't know if Robert Beal projects as a big snap player for the 49ers. And Beal's in the 240s. I think the 49ers are just going to be looking to push the pocket with power. And obviously you generate momentum, you generate force through athleticism with power. 49ers have both strength and size and speed with somebody like Michael Williams on the outside, so I think that they're going to be able to do that. I think this is going to be a pocket collapsing team, and then when we go to CJ West punching the center in the face, taking care of the A gap, taking care of the B gap for the 49ers, I think that's going to mix really well with what they have on the outsides. They're really going to be trying to flex their muscles along the defensive line. They're not going to be trying to out-finesse you. They're going to be trying to work that pocket backwards and obviously start with the stuffing of the run game. And that's where CJ West was particularly impressive at Indiana. Nobody ran against the Hoosiers last year, and it was a bad run defense before he showed up. He was at Kent State before Indiana, and then he came over for one season where they went to the college football playoff. You obviously have to give a lot of credit to the QB, Curtis Rourke, who's now a 49er for that, but today we're talking about the guy who hates QBs in CJ West. And Indiana faced only 85 runs into the A gap last year, which was one of the lower numbers in the entire nation. On those runs, they gave up one of the lowest averages in the whole nation. Opposing offenses got low push against those runs. And the answer, the commonality as to why this was the case, was CJ West, who was just an absolute stalwart in the middle of that Indiana defense. So he's the man of the hour. He hates quarterbacks, even though we're in a land of quarterbacks here at Stanford. We can go on a little walk back to the car. I actually went on a swim here at Stanford today. So most days you get the San Francisco Bay. Other days you'll get other cool locations. This is the Stanford baseball diamond. They call it Sunken Diamond. We're beyond the right field wall. That is the scoreboard. And then if you pivot over here, this is very, very arguably the nicest outdoor swimming pool in the world, the Avery Aquatic Center. That's where I just swam. So good times on the peninsula, good times at Stanford. 49ers headquarters used to be not too far from here in Redwood City. They're still not too far from here in Santa Clara. That's where CJ West and company will be reporting to 49ers rookie mini camp that starts next week.
I'm multiple. I can do it everywhere. But you know, my bread and butter is at the one technique. That's where I'll just abuse centers, punch them in the face.